Hey, this is Christy, host of Real Women, Real Happy. Joining me today is Jennifer Story. Jennifer, I am so excited to have you here to talk to us today. So let's get started by just telling people a little bit about you. So give us a sense of kind of what your home life is like, what you do during the day, what you do on the weekends. Tell us a little bit about your world.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Christine. It's so nice to see you. My name's Jennifer Story, and I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I am 40, almost 6 years old, in April on the 12th, and I have three children. Gabriel's 16, Tristan is 13, and my daughter Summer is 11. I've been married 18 years. I have two amazing golden doodles that I adore. And I am a full-time medical social worker. My husband and I run an assisted living facility for the elderly with behavioral dementia. And so I am a mom on the go. I'm currently on the dog beds on my floor in my bedroom because my daughter let my computer run out of juice, and this is the closest place that I could get to have a conversation with Christy. So that should tell you a little bit about my crazy life.
Classic. I love it. That is a great description. All right. So, I mean, I was going to ask what you do for fun, but I'm not sure you have a lot of time for hobbies in there. Is there anything that you get to do? What is your go-to if you do get a little escape?
Well, I think that I really love to do some stretching and yoga to relax. And for fun, I really like to go out with the girls for a glass of wine when I get some quiet time to myself. And then we have a boat at Lake Pleasant that we really like to go to when we can get there, but it's not nearly often enough. And if I really, really need a time out, I go to the beach and put my toes in the sand.
Oh, I love it.
That's,
Very nice.
yeah.
I knew we got along for some reason here. I think it was the wine that did it, but you know. All right, very good.
Absolutely.
So, as you know, Jennifer, with this series, what I'm trying to do is to give women kind of a sense of really how to create happiness in their life. We all have different parts of life that are kind of at various stages of that. And I should clarify, when I say happiness, I don't mean like enthusiastic jumping up and down this at 24/7. I mean kind of like that peace and zen and balance, like things are just going really well and you just feel like super happy. So what's an area in your life that you feel like you have kind of created that for yourself?
Well, I think it's really interesting that you asked me to participate in this because I finally have found a way to work that in the family. And I think as a career woman over, the past 20 years working in the same industry and business and really trying to figure out how to make that work as a full-time working mom. My daughter came to me about 4 months ago and she said, "Mom, I'm lonely." And that broke my heart. And here I'm thinking I'm not giving her enough social activity, enough play dates, those types of things. And really what ultimately that was is she was lonely in our house
Oh my
because
goodness.
everybody was on different tech or I was working or my husband wasn't home for dinner. And so that really put a lot of perspective on bringing home what we needed to do differently. And so we created a family day during the week. And so we stop everything and everybody puts their tech away. And we each get to choose a different thing that we do every Wednesday. And so that person started youngest to oldest, and each person in the family gets to decide what we do. It could be what you love. It doesn't matter if somebody else likes it in the family that day, but that means cooking. That means going out and playing miniature golf. It means hiking if that's what you love to do, taking the dogs for a walk. It doesn't mean that you can watch a movie because that means you're not interacting with one another. Queen Creek Olive Mill, it means Agritopia because they do a farmer's market. And then you can bring all that stuff home and cook together and interact as a family. And that to me is very, very special because the world stops and the five of us are together. And I learned so much. I even allowed them to order an adult game, and I learned so many things that I did not know about my children. They are much more educated in areas that I did not know they were educated in, but it was good for me to know that, and it opened up a line of communication for us because they are maturing, and I have some teenagers in this house, and it was good. It was really good. It's
Oh my
been really
goodness.
good.
Okay, I love
Yeah.
that. Now, okay, backing it up a little bit further, like, I mean, it's impressive that you have the um, the environment in your house where your daughter was wise enough to be able to say, I feel lonely? Because, emotional intelligence is hard for some people to really realize how to participate in, right? And the default
Right.
typically is if we feel a negative feeling, we internalize it and then act out instead of just really getting real with what it is that we're feeling and realizing that and bringing that to
Sure.
the table. So, I mean, how have you always had that kind of an environment in your house? How did you really make that something, especially with a teenager?
I wasn't raised that way, and so I think that we didn't do a lot of talking where I was, I was born in a small town, raised in a small town. We kept everything to ourselves. And so it was very important to me to not do things that way. My husband is extremely communicative. Sometimes that's hard for me. So I think that I am a let me take this into myself and internalize it and come back later. And he is definitely we need to talk it out. So he's helped teach me that. And in turn, I've worked with my kids a lot about communication, and we are very open. Sometimes I think that we take that to the kids' friends and they're like, whoa, you guys talk about that. And they have made that transition, I think, even more so than my husband and I have. And so we learned a lot by playing some of those games that we've come into the last few months and gone, whoa, maybe we're a little too communicative. But I don't know that is possible this day and age, because
Yeah.
they're exposed to so much social media and YouTube. It's instant clicking and they can find out anything. So I don't think there is too much of that. But you're right. For her to come and tell us that, I feel really proud of us as parents because of that. And the first thing we did that night when she told us that is put her between us in our bed. She's 11, and we put her between us in our bed and we just snuggled her all night because it was
Aw.
important for her to not feel lonely. So,
Aw.
and both her brothers hugged her. Both her brothers hugged her. We told them, and they just gave her a hug and said, "Okay, we get it."
Oh my
So,
goodness. Wow. If every kid could be raised in an environment where they could have that opportunity to communicate and be heard like that, this world would be a different place. That's really cool, Jennifer. That's
thank you
awesome.
very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So that's a great change that you made. And it sounds like it's had really quick payoff for you in that too. Um, so, I guess looking at it, what do you think is kind of the next, what are some other parts of what you've done in your family or that you hope to do to be able to kind of further enhance this now that you have that foundation
Well,
in that?
I think for me specifically is the mom part of being the super mom thing, which is not possible. So let's just call it what it is, ladies. We can't do it all. It's not
Yeah.
possible. I was raised by my grandmother who took care of my brother and myself, and then both sets of her parents and my grandfather's parents in a home. I have a wonderful mom as well, but a lot of times she was busy, so my grandmother took on that role. And I was raised thinking that that's what you're supposed to do, everything. But also, my grandmother did not work outside of the home. And these days, it takes two people and their income to run a family, at least most of the time.
Right.
And, and then I came home and I cooked and I cleaned and I did the laundry and I helped with homework and I'm doing all of these things. And at the end of the day, I'm not really a person anymore. And I have nothing left for myself. And as a social worker, the first thing they teach you is self-care. But for people that are caring and giving, we don't really know how to do that. We're so used to giving to other people. And so it was really hard for me to learn that it was okay to ask for help. And it's really, really important for us as moms and just as people to teach our kids how to take care of themselves, because we're not creating a good society if they can't go out on their own and take care of themselves. And so another thing that I did at the beginning of the year is taught my children how to do their own laundry. And it has been a godsend.
I feel like
In
that's
fact,
a good place to start. I feel like that's the right one.
yeah, and so before we got on this call, I literally said, okay, everybody needs to get their laundry done. Before I come out of the room and I'm finished, I need everybody to have their laundry done and put away. And they're pretty great kids. I mean, they're teenagers. Two of them are teenagers, and I got a little bit of a look. Come
Yeah.
on, mom, but they'll have it done because there are consequences if they don't. They're not
Okay.
too tough, but some help,
So
just a little
logistical
help.
tips, because I remember, I mean, I grew up in the household too, where, if you wanted your laundry done, you just did it, right? But like
Right.
logistical tips, anything that you've noticed in having them take that on that has made it easier? Like, do you do things where like Tuesdays one person gets the laundry machines, or have you found anything to make it easier for a family of 5 to work through that?
Well, I was raised where laundry gets done every day and it gets put away every day. So
Oh,
what you're
wow.
wearing is done that day and you could wear it the next day because we didn't have a lot of money. So you didn't have a lot of clothing. So you wore that clothing pretty much once or twice or 3 times a week. So in this house, our laundry gets done every single day.
Holy, okay, that is next level. All right, I'm gonna have to like just let that sit for a minute here. Whew. Okay, I can make it like
Christy's like, whoa.
I could make it a month without doing laundry if I really, really tried. I clearly
Yeah,
have too
I know.
many clothes,
Sorry.
but okay. Whew,
Yeah.
all right, got it. Impressive. Okay, well, very good, Jennifer. So now, like, just taking it outside of this context for this kind of final piece, if if you were to think about a woman in, her 40s, I can't believe you're 46. That doesn't seem right to me. You're so beautiful. Anyhow,
Thank you.
a woman in her, 30s or 40s that has some teenagers and is kind of doing the mom and work and the whole thing. I mean, you guys own a business. I mean, that's a lot. Um, and she's looking to kind of create that balance and whatnot. If you had to just give her 1 or 2 tips, like what would your key advice be for her?
Ask for help. It is okay to ask for help. And it's also okay to have solitude. That's one thing that I've learned over time is that although I'm a very social person and I love to be around people, I've also learned that over time, I really like to have my space. And so I tell my friends, if I go dark, don't worry. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong or that I'm upset with you. It just means that I need to have a little time to rejuvenate my soul.
I like that.
And take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes to breathe every now and again. If I sit at my desk too long, I just plant my feet on the ground and take a couple of deep breaths for myself and then dive back into whatever I'm doing.
I like
So yeah.
that. Very good. All right. Well, and actually, I think your practice of, family night is pretty impressive too. That's a good little hack there as well. So, all right. Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I think your advice
My
so
pleasure.
far.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Sounds good. Take care. Bye bye.